welcome to all who have gathered here in the virtual platform for the bootcamp mentoring session on lean startup and minimum viable product business. Welcomes are like pleasant shower, they widen the beam of immense happiness. Yes, it's time to welcome the gathering. I would like to call S. Karthikeni ma'am, IIC faculty coordinator, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, ma'am. Very good morning to one and all present here. It's glad welcome we bring to you this morning, filled with desires, hope, and dreams we all share. The Konga Arts and Science College Institution Innovation Council organizes many innovative programs to enlighten the minds and promote the participation of students at all levels. It's my privilege to welcome you all to the bootcamp mentoring session on lean startup and minimal viable product or business, organized by the Institution Innovation Council, Konga Arts and Science College, Autonomous Erode. It's my pleasure to welcome our Honorable Correspondent, Thiru K. Palnisamy Avargal, to this function. We welcome you, sir. I extend my hearty welcome to our respected principal, Dr. N. Raman, sir. We welcome you, sir. I am very delighted to take the opportunity to welcome our Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. B. Girirajan, Innovative Ambassador, Director, Collaboratory for Social Innovations, SI University, Warangal, to this bootcamp mentoring session. We welcome you, sir. It's my turn to extend a gracious welcome to our IIC President, Dr. J. Gayatri ma'am, on this occasion. We welcome you, ma'am. I would like to welcome all the IIC staff coordinators, head of the departments, faculty members who are all an integral part of the college. Last but not least, I welcome all the fellow students to the bootcamp mentoring session. I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I would like to call Dr. M. Tangam ma'am, convener IIC KASC, to introduce our chief guest, Mr. B. Girirajan sir.
Good morning, everybody. I feel honored to present before you our esteemed guest of honor, Mr. B. Girirajan sir, in this moment. Having graduated at DE, EIE, and ECE, sir is pursuing his PhD in electronics and instrumentation. He has been trained upon design thinking by Dr. William Oakes from Purdue University and has successfully completed International Engineering Educator Certificate program under the guidance of Dr. Krishna Vedula from IUCCE, USA. Sir holds more than 20 years of experience in teaching. Sir has published 8 papers in Scopus and other reputed journals. Sir owns nearly 30 patents and he has organized 3 FDPs and workshops. With such brief note of introduction, due to time restraints, I cordially invite you, sir, to present your keynote address. Please, sir.
Is it possible to share my screen now?
Stop share. Ma'am, sir, or presentation?
Yeah, I have my presentation. I will share it. Okay, my screen is visible now. Shall I start my presentation? not able to speak. Not able to hear. Are you able to hear, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning to all. Honorable Correspondent Dr. K. Pandaswamy sir, Principal Dr. N. Raman sir, President of IIC Congo Arts and Science College Dr. J. Gayatri ma'am, Vice President of IIC Dr. Sudhani ma'am, IIC Convener Dr. M. Thanga ma'am, organizers Mrs. Karthikeyani and student coordinator S.M. Janani. Very good morning to all. I'm here to present about lean startup and minimum viable product and business. More focus will be based on the prototype product design and the deployment of prototype. So you'll be getting into the minimum viable product. And also I'll cover some part of startup, lean startup and business also. As a technical person, I'm much interested in designing the product and mentoring the product designing for the students of the University, SR University Warangal. And my mentor is Dr. William Woods from Purdue University, USA. Some of the companies let us get into, and some of the founder I can share here, so that we get some interest over the entrepreneurship, business, or any startup initiations. We can get into that. So in this way, you can see some of the MNCs, very popular MNCs, as well as some of the Indian companies that is very popular among the youngsters now, and as well as in all the old age, all the age groups here. So there was some purpose to start a company. This company startup was have some basic thing that there is a need for the people to have the product. There is a market demand, and some of the area they have identified the problems that could not be solved by anybody. So this made them to be getting into product design and getting into the marketing. So in such a way, many companies are started, and we can see here MNCs, US-based company as well as Indian-based companies here. So some of the popular persons are also shown here. This is just to get an idea about entrepreneurship, service, what they are doing, and the founders and other details. So in the Indian level, it was Swiggy and Paytm and Flipkart, it was started. The purpose is to have facilitating the humankind in one or other way, and it was getting into a very big business now. So the topic is uh, lean startup, minimum viable product, and the business. So first of all, you should know what is lean startup and what is a minimum viable product. So when you see here, lean startup is about the preliminary works before getting into a very big business to in the shortest way, and also have some basic idea of the business plan. Everything is getting into the lean startup. To get into the lean startup, we should have some concept to be getting into the market strategy. So here having a product of great demand in the society, community, or the market. So when you start the business, you analyze about another design and getting into the business, you need to think about the funding. Funding is very big before into the business. So the funding is required for designing the product, purchasing the components and assembling and designing the product. It is also required for marketing. It is required for labors, need some of the supporting hands. So for all this domain, you need a funding. Before getting into a very good plan of a business, you should think about the problems from the group of people. It could be a community, it could be a society, or it could be any large crowd that the great demand is there for the product, or there are some of the problems to be solved through the technology, through your products. So you should identify the problems first of all, or you should identify some of the demand when you are having some idea to design a product
Excuse me,
or
sir.
to get into the business
Excuse me,
of particular. Yes, ma'am.
sir.
Yes,
Sir, your
ma'am.
screen is not visible, sir. Yes, now it's visible, sir.
So I was telling about the definition of minimum viable product, and before that, I was telling about uh, some of the companies, what service they have doing, and founder president of those companies. And next, I was telling about what is lean startup and what is minimum viable product and how can we get into the business. So this was the content I was delivering earlier. Now, we should know something about innovation, creativity. Innovation can be the new ideas. It could be the new technology, new way of using the technology, existing technology, and new ways of using existing materials. It is not limited to all of this. It could be a design, it could be innovation to design, it could be a new solution that you can create, and everything comes under the innovation. So something what you think is creativity, when you get deploy that, that becomes innovation. So the brain basic part, the preliminary part to get into the product design is you should have fresh minded towards the innovation. You should be broad thinking. You should be thinking out of box, and you should be very proactive, and you should be adapted to the latest technologies, or you should be aware of the latest technologies. So everything you need to get into have some preliminary ideas towards product design. So some of the basic design here I could tell the nature is a very good designer, and human are trying to get into the level of what the nature does. So it is additive manufacturing in call. It is not assembling of the part. The part is already there. The system is already there. It gets into the development of or the growth of the system. So in that way only the nature is having the design. So the very good feature of the nature is uniqueness. A bird is not similar to animal. Animal is not similar to the trees. And among the trees, you have different shapes. In a same tree, you can have different patterns inside the stem. And in the human, if you take the patterns available in your hand and other biometric thing are very much unique. So it is a very good design that you have the nature as a reference for designing. So still we are trying to that level, but it is not that much equivalent to the design of the nature. So let us get into the topic now. You have lean startup, minimum viable product and business. So I have told the definition of what is lean startup, what is minimum viable product, and how can you get into business. So you need a core team. First of all, the core team is very much dedicated. They are everything for the business. So this core team is what you need to form. The core team is very much important, that all the team members are dedicated uh, for this all these three categories, that is the lean startup, minimum viable product, and the business. So they are all the whole uh, charge for the team and the business. Next layer is the support team. The support team is making you communicate with the external world. They are getting support from you, either with a salary, as a part of salary, or giving some support for their promotion, or they get into some of the support from you for their career. But the core team is real investors, and they are the person who, the team members who take the pains and gains of the business. And the external team, or at the field level, you can take and you can get support from them and make the product reachable to the society. So before getting into lean startup, it is very important that you should have the minimum viable product. The minimum viable product explains what is your how the product will be. It explains all the functionalities of your product. It explains all the facilities, features that you are going to give when the final product is done. It is of low cost. At the same time, it has all the features that you can be explaining with that to resemble the original product. So this session is more about getting into the minimum viable product, to design about the minimum viable product. As I have some experience to mentor the engineering students towards designing of the minimum viable product. It is not that the engineering students can alone achieve the design of minimum viable product or the product design. Anybody who is interested towards, or anybody who is passionate towards the business, towards the design thinking, they can definitely get into the minimum viable product design of the product. So the minimum effort you need to put is, what is the technology used for designing the product? What are the existing solutions for the similar problem that is identified by you? So these things you need to have a basic study. And if you are focusing only on those technologies which is very helpful for designing the product, that is more than enough. You can learn, you have multiple resources available now, you can learn and implement. So when you're getting into this minimum viable product, it is not like any theory subject that you are studying. You have many theory subjects that will be helpful for you to understand the basics of your business studies. Okay, it can be business studies or whatever the domain you have taken it. When you get into the design, it really makes you happy when you learn some technology and implement it. That is the advantage of design, real product design. So let us start with the zero level. It is not you're not going to design a very big product in this session within 2 hours, but as far as possible, I can tell some basics of how to get into design of minimum viable product. That part I can cover here. And there are many concepts, design thinking concepts, that you can have a brief idea in this session. It is generally the students get into some problem, they buy some components, they design something and get some output, prefer some circuits, some nodes or something from the internet, or they start doing the product directly. So that is one part to make the product to be designed. When we get into the professional way of designing the minimum viable product or the product design, we need to follow some standards, so which is accepted globally. And you can also present in a startup pitch that you have done a design thinking in a proper way. You can proudly tell that I have followed this strategy, I have followed this design thinking method to design this minimum viable product, and it was coming up very nicely. So like that, you can have the presentation in the startup page. So for getting into this, you need to think about
Sir,
the design. Yes, ma'am.
sir, your Presentation is not now visible, sir. Yes, sir.
What was the last slide? Is it okay, ma'am?
Sir, press F5 for a slideshow, sir. It will be more visible for all students.
Is it okay, ma'am?
Sir, slideshow, if it is, if you give a slideshow, it will be more visible, sir.
Yeah, I'm doing slideshow. Is it visible?
Sir, not visible, sir.
I have kept in slideshow. I need to share also.
Yes, sir.
The design thinking is towards the corporates, technologists, or the social entrepreneurs. You can take any of this category. You can be a corporate, you can be a technologist, you can be a social entrepreneur to have the product design, and you can run your business. So when you think about some of the problems, you think to design some problems, you need to get into the interaction with the people, either directly or through online mode. You can interact with the people, what sort of problem they have, it is not directly into the problem they have. You can have some basic idea about people whom you're going to serve. For this, we need to segregate the people category. It could be a community, or you could be coming under the society, or any human assistive section that you can take, and you can interact with the people, what the problem they have, or day-to-day activities. From interaction you can take some identity. So when they start interacting, they will tell, I need, or either they will tell I need this, or they will tell some pain points in their occupation. So from that you can extract or expose some points, what you have to design, or what way you can give a solution to them. So here, when I got into the course design thinking from IIT Bombay, the professor was telling about uh, the design of beautiful lucky for police cops, so that they will be facilitated to have the lucky, and they are standing for a long time. They don't have rest. Sometimes they used to stand 20 hours or 12 hours, and whatever the time they have given, they need to stand for long duration. So they don't have any support for them to take rest for a while, and they have a stick with them. Sometimes they use the stick or the key for sitting. Sometimes they seek some place for sitting. So this is a pain point taken based on the interaction. And one more.
Sir, PPT is not visible, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. These are the pain points when the survey was taken. And one more problem they have identified is the team visited the hospital and discussed with the patients directly instead of meeting the doctors. The patients told the different pains when they get into the hospitals, and the doctors told different pains when the pain points, I can tell, when they were interacted. And the housekeeping and intermediate staff members of the hospitals, different category had different uh, occupation and their nature of occupation and their pain points. So from this, many problems were identified. So one of the problem was identifying the veins to take the blood, or for the person who is going for blood donation. So if the person is going for the blood donation, they should be facilitated. But instead of that, they get they get affected by identifying the veins. So it was very much painful for them to uh, identify the vein, for, both from the patient, from the donor side as well as from the nurse side. So there was a device which is vein detector, which was designed by IIT Bombay, uh, the innovation cell. This was good in the market in that area. So the interaction starts and the problem is identified. So in that way, you can have the design. So in there are design thinking steps. It is not that you need to follow everything as it is. As per your as per your convenience, you can change it. Uh, you can have many methods. There are design thinking methods, many design thinking methods. As per your convenience, you can take it. Here, but as far as concerned, you get into all the steps that is followed in at least one of the design thinking method. One method is 7C concerns of innovation. One is the cause, the context, comprehension, the check, the conception, crafting, the connection. This is these are the 7Cs you need to follow in the concerns of innovation. This is one method which is followed in IITs. So cause means what is the why you decide, that is cause. Context means you get into different parts so that you meet the people and interact with them and get more idea with the people, and you can take some uh, hints from them. So you need a cause, you need a context, and you have the comprehension. Comprehension means you have to make it note. You have to have a report over the interaction based interaction made context, and you need to check. Next stage is you need to check that. You need to go with the user whom you have interacted. You check all those ideas, and you take some more points. Then you can get into some of the facilities that you need for getting the things done. So all this comes under the check. Next is the conception. Conception is very important point, that you need to design multiple solutions. You need to design multiple solutions for the same problem. When you have the comprehension and the check, you will be finalizing one problem at least out of 10 to 15 problems your community partner or the people whom you have interacted will tell. Among that, you can select one at least which is having a large demand, and people you can meet, many people you can meet, and you can give a solution for that. So in that way, you can have the problem identified. Then you go with the check, that is the facilities that you need for achieving it. Then you go with the conception. Conception means develop multiple solution for the single problem. Among all the concepts that you have done, you can make one concept which is best one. Next is crafting. Crafting is absolutely the model design. It could be a low fidelity prototype. It could be also the minimum viable product. And then after making some of the stages that is reflecting your context or the problem that you have identified, you can have some confidence that you have some product in you. Similarly, when you have the model, it can be a paper model, it can be a CAD design, it can be any real-time hardware which resembles. Okay. So that is crafting. So when you interact with the people for problem identification, that is different. When you interact with the people with your product, the stage will be different. So when you interact with the people with your product, you need some physical representation of your concept. So that is called as a low fidelity prototype, or you can have some models. So the last part is the connection. The connection part is you have designed something and you need to uh, show to the user, and you can have some interaction. So with this input, you can come back to the conception or the crafting. You design it and come again to the connection. So the stage is one by one. At the same time, if there is any shortfall in any of these stages, you need to go back to the relevant stage in the previous part. So likewise, you can have 7 cycles. In the next slide, uh, you can have the diagram or the pictorial representation of 7 C's. So first is cost. You can have some reason for starting your work, and next is the context, whom you are going to interact for getting more things. And third one is the comprehension. You have to think about what are the thoughts you have discussed and how the things are made and whom you have met, what are the occupation details and their lifestyle, their pain points, everything you can have a note and make it as a report. Next is you need facilities for achieving, and then you go with the conception, that is designing of the product, like drawings, paper models or CAD models, something you have in you for making your concept. It can be one or many, and you can finalize it one. The best one can be finalized. Next is the crafting. Crafting, you can make it as a paper model. Hope I'm audible and the slide is shown.
Sir,
Yeah, is it audible, ma'am?
sir, audible, sir, but your sir, it's audible, sir, but the PPT is not visible, sir. So often it is it is not displayed, sir. That is the only issue, sir. Otherwise, it's okay.
Okay, I think there is a jerk in the network, and when you change the slide, it is happening. I will go back and get into the slide each time. Okay, now is it visible now? I'm in the 7 C's concept.
Sir, no, sir. It is the blank space only shown.
Okay. Okay. Okay, ma'am. Now it's okay. Okay. Hope now the screen is visible.
Sir, it's visible, sir.
Okay. I was telling about 7C concepts. In this, you need to get into all 7C concepts. Whenever it is required, you can switch over to any of the concepts that you need to get into. Any of those C that you can change according to your design. This is one method which followed in IITs, and next is the Stanford University. You have a Stanford University iterative model where you get empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test. This is another method. In some cases, you find the similarities between the 7C concept as well as some of the parts are similar, but you have small
The
variations
screen
in
is not visible,
the.
sir.
Okay. So there is Stanford University iterative model. You can have empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and testing. In this, the basic part is empathize is related to the cause and context. Define is taking some part of context in the previous model. Ideate is related to concept generation. Prototype is related to crafting. Testing is related to correction. So like this, you have different stages in Stanford University iterative model. The word iterative is given here because you need to interchange the blocks between these stages. So you need to go repetition over few stages, one or two stages need to get into repetition. So you have a iterative model here. So this is one model. Another is the design thinking. The design thinking from Purdue University is different. Here you have project identification as the cause in the 7C concept, and emphasize in the Stanford model. You have project identification. Next is specification development, and then you have conceptual design, detailed design, delivery, service, and maintenance. If it is required, you can go with the circle, or else you come out of the circle. So in this way, the design thinking from Purdue University is followed. This is one design thinking concept. So I have shared three models of design thinking. One is the 7C concept, another is Stanford University model, another one is Purdue University model design thinking. So you are not much technical or other things. Uh, you are not having enough knowledge with the technical concept means you can have some assistance with the technical persons. You can collaborate with your network where the technical persons are there among the students as well as experts, industrial experts. You can have some collaboration so that you have the business idea and you can have support from others for technical aspect. There are many possibilities for students nowadays. They are getting into many groups, so social media, as well as when they get into the events like IEEE and other events, they get very good network where they can form the collaboration and make it as a team. It is not that your institution and the team member alone can get into the product design. You can get with the your own institutions, other group of institution, and in when you get into IEEE and other professional society, you have teams members who can help you in many ways. So you can get funding for this product design also. Before getting into the market itself, you can get funding for the product design. So there are many funding organizations who support for product design itself. You need not go for startup and launching or any other business methods. Before getting into the startup itself, you have money for product design. So one such funding sector is IEEE ethics, where the funding is given by the IEEE association. There are some constraints that you need to form a team with interdisciplinary team, and you need to form as gender from as a boy and girl, and you have some constraints for the team formation. Apart from that, your design can be achieved, and if it is related to the society, you'll be getting the fund for that. So there is a lot of there are a lot of support for product design. The only thing is you get into the mission and vision of those organizations and try to match with your business or the product design with their constraint. Then you have very good support from them for finance. So what I am going to explain in this is how I have started or how the students are designing the product and how they are coming up with the product design. So this you can get some idea about the students perform, and they identify some community or the society. There are large communities in and around our institutions. Known area maybe there. You can identify some of the community and the society. Then you can have demand. What are the demand over your product? What are the problems they are they are having to get solved by you? All those things can be identified. First, you need to identify some community. So you can have school children, you can have cottage industry, you can have handicraft people, old age people, the construction laborers. You can have many community or the society. This is one constraint. And next is industrial-based product design. Or you know about some of the multinational companies, as I displayed in the first slide. Many multinational companies have some industrial product. So with that, you can get into the market. That is one style which is coming under the corporate entrepreneurship, and this is social entrepreneurship, where people will be there and they have their own occupation, uh, similar lifestyle, or similar location. Anything can be there with the similarities. So with this people, you can identify some problems and design some product for them. So it is. The students formed the team first, and they started interacting with the people, and they identified some of the problems from based on the interaction. So how the teams are formed means it is 5 members per team, and I am sharing the slide with the team formation constraints that is followed in the IEEE ethics. It is I think the slide is not shared. I'll try to share it. The constraint for the team formation is 5 members should be there, and the roles are split into team leaders, project manager, web master, project liaison, and the finance assistant or finance manager. Like that, you can split the roles, and team should include person as one constraint, and it should be the interdisciplinary. Interdisciplinary means it can be arts and science students, it can be engineering student, it can be within the engineering college, engineering students, you can have multidisciplinary teams. Like that, you have different different team members of interdisciplinary. Then you can get IEEE funding. Next is the ethnographic survey. You need to go for ethnographic survey as an initial work. If the ethnographic survey is not possible due to your academic schedule, you can share the details in the uh, social media or very closed network that you have, and you can get some information. By all means, you need to get some information from the community. That is, you can collect, ignore, and report. Collection is done by visiting, observing, interacting, and based on your experience, also you can have some reflection. So, what are the data you need to collect before problem identification? It is all about the demographic data. That means that age, gender, occupation, and interest. The geographic data, their workspace details, events, sequence, and working scenes. the ethnographic data like social behavior, culture, and tools used for the events or the tools used for their day-to-day activities for their job. And everything can be done with the interviews by taking prior permission from them. Some agencies require prior permission, some agencies does not require. You can directly contact them. So if you have a very specific area, you can have some people where the public gathering is there, and you can identify some of the problem in that area also. It is not getting into one particular community. Common to all the gathering will be there. The community now becomes a society where multiple communities will be there. So with this kind of people, you can have some a solution for the problem that you have identified. So this is the first stage you need to get. So don't take much risk because you are in the academic session. When you are getting interested, you need to concentrate on academic as well as to these activities. Means you need to plan properly. Otherwise, if you need to balance between the academic session and the business or real-time business what you're going to do. So planning is very important. If you're planning well, definitely you can balance kind of activity as well as the academic session. You need to have some preliminary works like taking the documents, camera, some assisting tools that you need to go for survey. You fix the person for whom you are going to interact. You need to fix the team members role for survey. One should be recording, one should be asking the questions, one should be noting down. Like that, you can split the works among yourself and get the data. So after getting into the interaction, you can collect the data and make it as a report, identify the opportunities, segregate. Everything is not the problem. What they told, you can segregate that as a problems, needs, and challenges. Then you map the data according to your product design. Rearrange the quality and quantity of the data, recollect and fill the gap. So in this way, you can have the report of the presentation, report of the ethnographic survey. This stage is the problem identification stage. Then you get into one particular community partner or the person whom you are going to interact and have a profile of them. That profile is called as persona creation. The persona creation has all the details of the person whom you have interacted and whom you are going to test in future. So each and every stage you need to test with the person. So you need to create one persona where the person's details are available. I will show one sample persona here. Here you have person's detail here, which is called as persona. So it is detail of Vignesh, his qualification, job, nature, and his lifestyle, and what are the gadgets he is having. All are available in this profile. So in one page you can have all the details, or else you can get into 2 pages maximum, so that you understand about the person whom you are interacting. So this will be very good. It is having very good readability. Now you have completed the problem identification stage. Uh, if the institution is supporting for you to get into the survey, you can take the support from the institution so that you get problem identified the nearby villages or any industrial sectors. It could be an industrial sector where the technology is used, or it could be a village or other community where the people you can meet. So you can have multiple survey. Then you make a summarized report as a first stage. Here it is some sample is shown here. There is problems, needs, and challenges summarized here. It is that seed is the labor is a major problem for the agriculture sector. They have taken one of the student team has taken that labor problem for all the stages of cultivation. That is from plowing, seed sowing, removal of the weed, harvesting, loading of the grains. For all this part, the labor is a very big problem for the agriculture sector. So how to solve this problem? In each stage, you have different machineries to be used. So replace the human with the machinery. At the same time, the real demand is there for the machinery. You can select a field where the real demand is there for machinery, so that you can have very good marketing. So you have report, summarized report here, and you get the uh, exact concept that you're going to build. So after this report, from the report, you split need statement and problem statement. Need statement is the people need some machinery. Problem statement is you have to design it. That's it. And you have a plan that is called as the Gantt chart. As I shared here, some of the team member they have some plan for the what is the design architecture, budget proposal, when they can complete the prototype design, how can they analyze the failure mode, how can they go for redesigning, how many weeks they require for final testing. So like that, you need to plan for the product design. So this is a map according to the work plan. You have to make it. Next is the concept generation. As I told, in the 7Cs, concept is one of the part. You need to search for the Google patent. You need to go for the e-commerce website, any reputed journals, or the products available in the market. So this to concept generation, so that you will not have a repeated product. If the market is having one of the product, then there is no use of designing it. If the patent is available for the product that you are going to design, then it is not going, you may not be getting the funding. So the concept generation is very important, that you have your own product. So this is one of your generation. In this, you have a prior art search. Okay. One of the stages, prior art search. Okay. Prior art search, identifying the existing solution before getting into the concept generation. So there are many software packages which helps you for a mind map. Everything you cannot make it as a paper, pen work, and you cannot make it with the documents. So there are many mind mapping tools. You can take some of the mind mapping packages here. When you log in, like any other, when you sign up this, you'll be getting a free version for a few days. With that, you can have your mind mapping and make it as a PDF document, and then you can have your own document. It looks very professional. All the parts that you can take and put into one page, and you can have collective way of having the plan. Stages you can have different supporting part of particular stage you can have. Everything can be made into one page. So these are some of the mind mapping tools, and you have to if you are making this, it will be very easy for you to read. So when you are organizing any events, you can use this. And even some Android-based mind mapping tools are also there. When you are using nowadays, you are using mobile phones for any work. So Android-based mind mapping tools are also available. You can use this for including all the needs that you that is mandatory for your product design. So here is the concept generation, where you have product. Some of the product you need to design means you need to have the dimension, you need to have some specification, the materials used, cost of the material, size and range of all details you should have in the concept generation. So it should be exactly the dimension should be there for all the corners of the each and every part of the. So it should be real. It should be reflecting the product that you're going to design. So in such a way, you can have the concept generation and specification development. So when you have this, you can start doing the crafting work. Seen in the 7C. You have the product design. Now you have some minimum viable product. This is one of the examples for the low fidelity prototype you can tell. Still, it is not getting into the stage of minimum viable product. You have some functionality here which tells something about the speed reduction or abnormal condition of the vehicle move here. This is a product which is detecting the thermal condition of the vehicle. When the vehicle is tilted or when it is moving in different direction, different way, this case will be, or the system will be identified. So you have some idea, you have some product. If you are explaining, if you are explaining the concept with this minimum viable product, it will be helpful for the angel investors or startup funding agencies to to fund you. You have the confidence that you have the product, you have the confidence that you have the concept, you have confidence that you are versed in all sections of the product and the users details. So this is the basic thing you need to go before going for the startup launch. These are some of the products that you can see.
Excuse me, sir. Screen is not visible, sir.
Coming up, when I change it will bring up the story. So now I'm sharing the screen again so that it is clear for you to have a multiple sample of minimum web here. Takes time for sharing or displaying the screen. Just a minute.
Now it's visible, sir.
Okay. So this is one of the product which is called as a smart booth for village people, where the people can interact with this before getting into the hospitals for getting the assistance of the doctors, booking the doctors or and the bed and the facilities available in particular hospitals, interacting with the counselor or the representative in the hospital. So this is one of the AI-based interactive device, which is a smart board for village people. It was designed by the students. They learned the technology required for this and they implemented within 1 year. So this is another product called organic fertilizer mixture. The organic fertilizer mixture, they studied the demand of the organic farming. The people um, made the manure or the fertilizers, they mixed using a manual operation, and they they uh, they need to apply force for uh, mixing the water and the fertilizers or the organic fertilizers. So more manpower is required for this to mix it. So this product is based on organic fertilizer mixing. On the top you have a motor and the bottom you have a stem connected to the blades, and there is a clamp over the plate which holds the container. And when it is kept in the container where the water and the organic fertilizer is there, the and the motor is switched on, it starts rotating, and the controlling of the motor is done with the microcontroller. And it is an automated one. It can be a time based operation or it can be a manual operation, a manual set operation, but it is motorized one. So it solves the problem of manually mixing the organic fertilizer. This is one of the product which is very which has the demand in the organic farming. So likewise, we have many product. This is one of the product which is multi-purpose agri machine. Here, the students got the demand. There is a demand for plowing, seed sowing, and nutrition application. This is one of the demand coming up from the taken up from the ethnographic survey, and they followed all the stages of what explained in 7C or the Stanford University model or the design thinking model. It covers all the stages. And based on this design thinking concept, they drawn the diagram and they made a CAD model, and then they started designing the real-time product. This is a student who demonstrate the functioning of the product to the user. This machinery is useful for seed sowing, plowing, and nutrition application. There is a segment on the top of the container where the nutrition can be used as well as the seed can be kept in another segment. So there is a control in the handle that the person is handling here. There is a control over each segment to select the seed or to select the nutrition or to use it as a plowing. So there are controls for two sections. One is for seed, another one is for nutrition. And the plowing part is detachable. Whenever it is required, you can use for plowing. Sometimes the plowing may not be required, so it can be removed. So in this way, the machinery is designed, and this is patented in the student's name as well as the mentor's name, and it is going to be used by the user and tested. After testing, the team will be going for pilot production and then mass production. So this is one of the concept we can explain. So it is not that all the students can do the same thing. Some students are interested in app development, some students are interested in web designing, or some students may be interested in getting into the industrial product. So like this, you have various interests depending upon the problems that you have identified and you're designing. You can have the product design as a minimum viable product. You need to spend some time for all these works. Try to plan properly, and you can have the best minimum viable product. So after this, you need to think about the business. So that is the last stage of this presentation. You need to think about the business. There are many business model canvas available. You can have Amazon, you can have Uber Pitch, you can have many NGOs, NGOs structure for the product. When you get into the NGOs, that is coming under the social entrepreneurship. So better take with the corporate entrepreneurship for business. Amazon you can take, and Ola you can take, Uber you can take. Many business kind of models are available. What is business?
Sir, sorry for
model
the
is,
interruption, sir.
you can have, yes, ma'am.
The screen is not visible, sir. Now it's okay, sir.
Okay. You can have a business model canvas from can have the format. What is the business model canvas means? You can have the details of your product, features of your product. You can have the cost effective of your using your product. You can have the people who can use the product. So you can have different categories coming into one poster or one page. You can have all the informations. So that is business canvas model. This is done after the minimum viable product. You'll be getting some idea about the minimum viable product. With that, you can have the business model canvas. So now you have minimum viable product. You have understood something about a lean startup. you have business model canvas, you should have a very good presentation. So last but not least, the presentation slides before getting into the startup launch, you need to be very careful. It should be fruitful, it should be achievable, and it should be having enough information that it attracts the angel investors. So in that way, you need to have a make a presentation. This minimum viable product will be giving a major role for attracting the angel investors. The features that you are going to explain will also be one of the part. So for this, you need to have a minimum viable product, and you need to have a business model canvas and a very good presentation. So with this, you can have a startup launch and a presentation, and you can get funding for that. So there are two stages for getting the funding. One is try to get fund for the product design. Other is try to get fund through the startup launch. So this is what I need to share. The remaining time is 4 minutes. Is it possible to extend, or we can have questions now?
Hello, sir. Sir, I'm Gayatri.
Do we have time, ma'am, for continuing, or?
Yes, sir. Sir, we are having the time, sir. Shall we continue the session, question answer session in the next link, sir?
Okay.
After the disconnection, shall we have, sir?
Now with this slide I will close it, ma'am, and then we can have questionnaires.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sir, one more request, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you send your PPT, please? Because the screen is most of the time it's not visible, sir.
Okay.
Can you send
Sure,
the PPT, sir?
I will send the PPT.
Okay. Oh, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. This is the revenue generation. How can we make the revenue generation? To have the minimum viable product now. This is a plan that you need to understand about your product and the profit that you can make with your product. You need to have the understanding of your product. It is not that you have tested and you'll be getting this profit uh, for for the maximum level. It is not that. You should have some basic idea before getting into the implementation. What is the cost of uh, what is the cost of the process that is done without your instrument or the uh, invention or innovation, and how they complete the process. The comparison can be done based on the cost, effectiveness, as well as the facility that you're providing through your technology. So in that way, you can compare. These are the major points that you need to think. One is the cost, that is very, very important. And another is providing, and you are giving the solution for their painful implementation, painful work they are doing. So this can be taken into account for the comparison. For this, you need to understand the basic process of the person who has involved in their day-to-day activities and their normal process without your instrument. So what is the cost of if you take an example that I have shared in the last screen? It is a multi-purpose agri machine where the seeds sowing, nutrition application, and plowing is there. Before using it, there is a requirement for the labor. There is a requirement for calling the laborers for every stage, for plowing, seed sowing, and applying the nutrition. For this, the labor involvement was there before using this instrument. And for that, the labor, what is the cost of the labor for every stage? Or if they are continuously, simultaneously doing all the three together, what is the labor cost? So these things you need to think. So with that cost, after purchasing your equipment, what are the costs replaced by your equipment? And what are the painful points that is given solution by your point, by your things can become. Here you have 16,040 rupees for maize cultivation for 1 acre, for an example, without the labor charge. So I was telling about uh, the generation of the product. This business model you can take. I did not share the business model canvas. You can have the format of the business canvas model. This is a short description about the product and how it is overcoming the conventional method of doing the process, agriculture process. So normal expense is 16,040 rupees as an approximate value done for the processing of this seed sowing, plowing, and nutrition application. This is common factors. These are all the common factors like cost of the weed, harvesting, transportation, nutrition application, cost of the manure. All these are common factors, which is applicable for without instrument and with instrument. This is the common amount. When we include the labor charge, it becomes 28,000. When we include the instrument cost, it becomes around 30,000. Say, for example, if it is 14,000 of cost of the instrument. So it is a one-time investment that the person is going to purchase the equipment. And, after investing for one time, the person can keep it for a long time, and the same instrument can be used for next cultivation also. So in that way, you need to invest for purchasing the equipment for one time, and the consecutive years you can get the profit without the investment cost. So within 1 year, you can take away the profit, the investment, what he has done for the instrument. Remaining part you can get the profit from next year onwards. So only the basic inputs will be the expense, the labor charges removed from the second year onwards. So this is the change, the innovation makes it for the community. It is not that entire human is replaced with the machinery. It is that the labor demand or the labor shortage is overcome here. So it is one of the point that we need to think where the labors are not available. So the unavailability of the labors is solved with the help of the machineries in some agriculture or any community, and it depends upon the uh, type of the farmer. Some dryland farmers will be there, large acres owning farmers will be there. Type of the cultivation also varies. Some may be horticulture, some may be a paddy, and some may be maize or chili. Many types of cultivations are there. So based on that, you need to identify and can be done for selected community. So it is you can go with the mechanical design, you can go with the app development, you can go with the interdisciplinary approach, you can have motorized mechanisms, you can have some combinations of connecting the website, app, and machineries. There are many possibilities there now to get into the startup. Or you can have a single domain which facilitates the people. Any mode you can have a product design to provide a solution for the people. It is not only the people, you can have the solution for indirectly, you can give the solution for the people who have poultry farming, you can have the dairy farming. Like that, you can have different community. So there are many areas where you can identify some of the project opportunities. You can tell that as a project opportunities, and you can start doing your design and get into the business. So I'm stopping with this, ma'am. Can have the questionnaires now. Can have
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable thought-provoking session about startup and viable products, sir. Surely this session might have created an inspiration to become an entrepreneur. Thank you, sir. Now, the session is open for discussion. Participants, if you have any queries, you can ask now.
The session may be continued with the funding assistance for product design as well as for startup launch, production, and how about the angel investors. So all those things can be the next stage of this session. Because students, when they form the team and they go for product design, uh, the major problem is the investment for them. Even for 2,000 to 3,000 for basic prototype design, they need to invest. So that becomes a challenge for every education institution how to assist the student in the funding. So there are many supporting hands for product design as well as for funding in the startup and business.
Sir,
Yeah,
so what make a good MVP?
pardon, I'm not hearing.
So what make a good MVP?
Okay, first MVP is based on the students or the team members' interest, the real problem they have identified first of all, and covering the major people who are in real demand for using the product that you're going to design. That is the major point you need to think about it. Good MVP is first coming from a project opportunity and the technology used for designing the minimum viable product. If the user is not there, or the less users are there, there is no meaning of designing this. Hope you got the answer.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, how does the lean startup differ from the traditional business practice?
The lean startup is something like a preliminary business that you can take, or it is an idea to get into the business. But a business is a well-established concept. You cannot relate much with the business and the lean startup. Lean startup is a preliminary one. It can be a successful one. It can be getting into a very big level. Sometimes when the plan is not done properly, it happens that it can be failed also.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, in the 7C concerns, you have told that about the conception, sir. We need to create multiple solutions for the same problem, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So why, sir, we need to create multiple solutions for a single problem, and how to select a particular solution to that problem, sir?
Okay, very good question. The team member, the different team in the team member, there are different persons and their perspective may be different. If one design is done, that may be a very good design, or there may be some possibilities that team member may be telling that this design is not going to be functioning in this part. So when we have a multiple design from different team members for the same solution, all the team members can discuss together to select the best one, and to select the best concept or the best design. We have some concept called the PUX matrix. The PUX matrix, we can put the concept as a reference model as one of the part, and all the designs can be compared with the reference model. Which design is having maximum score, that score, the design corresponding to that maximum score can be selected as a best one. So that is one decision matrix. We call that the decision matrix, who the named after the creator called the PUX.
Thank you, sir.
Any queries? Haripriya,
Ma'am,
you can take over the session.
as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. Now, I call upon our IIC student coordinator, SM Janani, to deliver the vote of thanks.
On behalf of our college, I extend a really hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, Mr. P. Girirajan sir, who spared his time for sharing the knowledge in his busy schedule. Today, we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, sir, and this will surely be going to encourage us in our future events, sir. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to heartily thank our honorable correspondent, Thiru K. Palanisamy Avargal, and respected Principal Dr. N. Raman, sir, and respected IIC President Dr. J. Gayatri, ma'am, for arranging such an amazing session. Thank you, sir and ma'am. And I would like to thank all the vice president, conveners, IAC staff coordinators, head of the departments, and faculty members who are an integral part of this session. Last but not least, I would like to thank our IAC student coordinators and fellow students for their support. Thank you, everyone.